Raiden is the toughest character of all time. Let me break this game down for you. So my boy works for a security company and is helping out Prime Minister Namani. And they're just chilling, yapping about how there's no more war. But them boys spoke way too soon. As they randomly stop because someone is posted up in front of the cars. Just for it to be one of the cleanest characters in the entire game, Jetstream Sam. I mean, just look at his sword. You know he's tough. And this random was piping up, so you know he had to start cooking. Dashed in, dodging every bullet, leapt up, blocked 3 shots, and sliced the entire guy in half. But you know he had to aura farm, really cooked him 2 more times on the way down. So the full squad had to post up on him, just for him to turn, and look how he's smiling, bro. He made Joy look painful, but the smile tells you everything you need to know. Ran through 3 of them with ease, till they start driving away, trying to escape. But these 3 bums step in front of the whip, trying to hate. So you know Raiden had to do something about it. Stepped out of the car and threw the suit in the air, just so you know he isn't corporate. And oh, nah. He really rocking high heels, bro. Now let me stop. But he pulls out the briefcase, lets the sword hover in front of him just for a second, then slowly unsheaths it and wastes no time flexing. Cut the wall down, blocking off the path, and posts up on all 3 of them, bro. This right here is how you do a character introduction. He's too clean. But we cut to Raiden's squad trying to defend the Prime Minister. And this is just genuinely absurd, bro. The whole game is, but like this right here was crazy. A random mech just leaps out of the water and just beams them out of nowhere. Had the Prime Minister shook. So my boy tries to back him, just to look up and get cooked. Diced my boy up for no reason. And look what he did to his twin. Blocked the swing without even looking. But he was not going out weak. Weaved the clapback, just to get his arm snatched off. And this is just too tough. He puts the blades together and placed them around my boy's neck and cut his head clean off. And wasted no time pressing the Prime Minister. So Raiden had to try and stop him. And we found out why they're pressing the squad. Basically,
Africa's just getting a bit too peaceful. What?
Yeah, that's it, bro. There's no more to it. That's really the whole reason. They just want beef. And he dipped out, leaving Raiden to fight the mech. And I promise you, he cooked up. Blocked the attack, caught the blade, picked up the entire mech and tossed him. Ran up his arm mid-air and carved him up. And you know he had to farm that aura. They're really escaping with the PM and he had to flex. I promise you he's not serious. So he starts chasing with the Prime Minister again, just for the mech to rise back up from the dead. So Raiden had to cook him one more time. He tried to run, shooting hella missiles. So Raiden starts jumping on them, hawking him down, sliced up his armor, put the blade on his foot and snatched his arm off. And started aura farming again. Just for bro to rise from the dead again. Tossed my boy into a clock tower, so you know he had to lock in. Started charging down it, stabbed his head and ran down his back, finally beating him for good. But they still have the Prime Minister hopping on a train, and Raiden finally catches up to them. But it did not matter. He mugged the Prime Minister and said, Sam, handle that, ducking the smoke. But you know Sam's a problem. They clash and he just starts pressing Raiden. He reads his jump, hitting him with the backslash, then leapt up and smacked him off the roof. And I promise you he was just getting started. Hit him with the hilt of the sword, broke his guard and tried to cut his eye out. But he really got back up trying to recover his aura. So Sam put him back in his place and popped out with a fire sword, blew up one of the containers and really rose out of the flames to continue to cook Raiden. And this is just too tough. Swung leaving some flames, resheathed his sword for the burst attack and took Raiden's arm off. I see why you guys are always talking about Sam in the cutscenes. He's on bad timing. And it was just raps from here on out, bro. Sam was really just toying with him. Damn near sent my boy off the side of the train, but he got bailed out by his squad who pulled up blasting. So Sam dipped out and Raiden knew he had to get his get back. So we skip forward about 3 weeks and Raiden's flying in a jet, putting up on some ops with the help of his new crew called Maverick. And his ops are the same guys who killed the Prime Minister, keep that in mind. So you know Raiden had to pull up clean, flew out of the jet, soared up and landed, dispersing the waters. And the creators were doing way too much. Really had the water droplets bouncing off his new body. And bro has every upgrade imaginable, but he had to keep one eye to look tougher. I can't even hate. So he starts pulling up to the enemy HQ called Desperado when someone starts yapping at him. Just for this random chainsaw to start carving up the tunnel he's in. Made him fall to the ground. But just deep this play, bro. He's slicing up these containers just for this robotic dog to try and sneak Raiden. But he's not that sorry, booting my boy back. But it turns out he's an AI blade wolf and is meant to have intelligence higher than humans. But he was created to pack up Raiden and try to sneak him again with some blades. And yes, Raiden, we see the pose, bro. We see the pose, like, at ease, bro, at ease. But they were done talking. The fade had to be ran. But Raiden packs him out easily. But he had to be mentioned, and you will find out why soon. So he finally gets to the enemy HQ, and we see the guy Raiden's beefing, this little Russian guy. And for some reason he's mad as hell at this random woman. And you can just tell she's a cyborg, bro. You can just tell by the build. But she really pressed my boy Raiden by blowing a kiss? I just did a Google search and bro's pushing 40. He has to lock in. But he finally pulls up just about the same baddie from earlier, Miss Stroll. And she's calling my boy Jack the Ripper. We're gonna dive into that fully later, don't even worry about it. And she's talking about how she was killing everyone just because she felt like it. She is not wifey material and starts fusing with all these little arm robots, entering her full form. And he gets straight to squabbling. There's no time to waste. But she really thought she had Raiden pressed, grabbing him. But he sliced through her staff, swung off the pole, and booted her in her back. I started chasing her down, landing on this pipe. But she was out of there, bro. Broke the whole thing down and dipped out just to post up and try and call game. She clearly doesn't know who she's up against. He blocked the swing, ran up on her, clean backhand, got her with the rage bait and ran off. Backflipped off the wall, making her stab the storage tank, and then posted up on her weapon and cut it again, which made her freeze up. And you know we had to hit the slow-mo, dicing her up, and posted for the explosion. But talking about explosions, Hasbulla blew himself up for honestly no reason. So we get to the next fade, as my boy pulls up to Mexico, clean as hell with the Huncho. And I told you I had to mention the dog, say hello to Wolfie. And they're going into the sewer system. But these two see bro doing something weird, and they actually mind their own business. Hey, clap out for them, bro. Clap out for them. I know there's some of you that we're trying to investigate. I'm not even going to say what kind, but they're in the sewers because there was a research center to investigate. But he hears this boy screaming and pulls up on a full squad of mechs, but he mixed them all and sees low bro called George. And he's telling Raiden they have a full facility of kids and they're taking their brains out, bro. It's crazy. And my boy wasn't even lying. These are all that's left of those kids. But when he finally pulls up to them, this corrupt scientist really started gassing the hell out of them, bro. And had my boy George at gunpoint. But George is a real one, because Raiden starts walking down the scientist because we know he's not like that. And George grabs his gun, giving Raiden just enough time to end him, freeing up all the kids. But we catch up with Raiden and he's riding out to America to get to Marshall's main base, the one shipping kids' brains. But the police were not going to let this slide. Tried to shoot him with no warning, so he spun them out and started ducking out of there. But Boris calls his phone, pressing him because he quit the crew. But he is not stressed about it though. He should be stressed about the police. Where did they get a whole rocket launcher, bro? This is not state issued. Blew him all the way up. But this is Raiden we're talking about. Hopped out the whip with Wolfie, talking about some, guess you better arrest me then. But the police were not joking with him, and he had to run their fades. But he finally gets to World Marshal headquarters, just for Sam to start pressing their hell off him on the big screens. But he was all up in Raiden's head, basically making him realize that he's really killing actual people. They aren't just cyborgs. It got to a point bro was scared to even box with them, and they started putting hands on him. And even after he locked in, my boy was looking weak as hell, had him on his knees in front of Sam, just for this random to butt in out of nowhere. This guy named Monsoon. Who? And I know bro thought attaching his body like this was tough. I promise you it wasn't, bro. I promise you it wasn't. Like, how am I meant to take him seriously when he decides to start yapping about memes? But even he was pressing Raiden. But they really thought they had him right where they wanted him. Just for bro to realize, we do not care about these random soldiers, bro. I'm here to wipe out the entire squad. And they awakened Jack the Ripper. And off rip they knew he was a problem. So bro tried to kill him. Just for him to eat the attack and tell Doctor to turn off his pain inhibitors. He wanted to feel the sword being ripped out of him. He's sick. And oh nah, bro's low-key a demon. And of course he had to start cooking. I don't know why he tried to grab his sword like he couldn't get another one. Stabbed right through his hand, kicked up the sword and put it right through him and took out two with one swing. Then cut bro's arm off and sliced him in half. Even gave his body time to fall apart before booting his feet out of the way. And of course he's trying to go toe to toe with Sam, but Monsoon had to get in the way. Like, who even is this guy, bro? So they had to box. But Jack was not playing with him. He picked up a whole pillar and tossed at him. Jack ran up it, kicked bro and started stomping him out. Backflipped and hit the slow-mo dicing him up. Then took his head off just to make sure he's dead. And of course he had to pose on him. But he gets out of his Jack the Ripper form. And my boy needs to get to the upper floors of the building. And he started jumping on these flying robots. Blew up the last one and started running up the side of the building as they were trying to get at him. And he finally gets to the upper floors. And we see the guy who killed the Prime Minister, Sundowner. And he's talking about how he's going to make the kids act just like Raiden. But honestly, he just likes war, bro. There's nothing else to bro's character. He just likes fighting, bro. So he tells Raiden to run his fade on the top floor. And of course he's trying to jump. popped out with 3 whole helicopters. And I'm gonna be honest with you, he's kinda clean though. I don't rock with him, but he's kinda clean. So Raiden had to put hands on him. But he packed up bro with ease. Like, wait, hold on, he's not aura farming? Oh yeah, this fight is not over. He popped out on a helicopter and opened fire on my boy, had him free falling from the roof. But he saw one of those flying robots and had to do the most. Hopped on top of it and flew up the inside of the building, cut up the roof and tossed the robot straight at Sundowner. And somehow bro exploded right into Raiden's blade. And he had to dice big bro up. But to stop the wars from happening again, like Sundowner wanted, they had to get to Pakistan in under 3 hours to stop an attack on the president. And the only way to do it is basically in a whole rocket ship. My boy makes his way to Solus to fly there. And this scene was pure insanity, but I don't know what was going on. Lock in with me. He hopped on a plane with Dr. pulling up to Solus when 2 unmanned drones came out of nowhere, trying to take them out. And Raiden's talking about I'll handle this. And I'm sitting there thinking, what can bro actually do? Just for him to hop out the side of the helicopter onto one of the drones, taking it over. Then told Dr. to bring the chopper around town, ducked under it, and posted up with his blade, sawing clean through the other drone, and had to pose for the explosion. And somehow, he wasn't done, because his drone blew up, so Dr. tried to catch him with the heli, but the bar broke and he fell from the skies. But whilst he's saluting Raiden like he died, he's literally a cyborg bro, he's not going out weak. So he had to drive to the spot, hopping on this clean bike, just to see Wolfie and his main op Sam post up right in front of him. And no one can stop them this time, bro. Because Raiden had to get his get back. And they ran the fade. Hold on. Wait, bro's already dead? Damn, I guess Raiden got his get back. The issue was Sam had no cyborg enhancements. He was just like that. But damn, hey, rest in peace, I low-key rocked with Sam. But he gets onto the rocket ship and gets to Pakistan. The first thing he sees is Wolfie packed up on the floor, just for a massive mech to burst out of the ground. And of all people to come out, it was the US Senator Armstrong. And now that I'm deep in it, he's really boxing with the US government by himself. And they're really about to start war again because the president was in Pakistan. So people thought they were trying to assassinate him. But we are not here for politics, we want violence. So he had to run the fade. Bro hops in his Metal Gear and we get to boxing. But Raiden's played these games before, took the Metal Gear sword, diced it up with his own blade and blew it all the way up. But the senator is tapped, bro. Came out of the mech, did a sumo stomp and fused with the mech and started cooking Raiden, shoulder barged the hell out of him and had to tell him he played college football, ripped Raiden's mask off, spun his jaw and started walking him down. Caught the sword, but Raiden was weaving every swing, so he just grips them up. Tossed your go into the air and really said,
Don't fuck with this, Senator!
And booted him out the way. Raiden, do not let him do like this. He's only had 5 minutes of screen time. Hold on. He dropped another one.
What the hell are you? Why don't you stick around and find out?
Yo, write that down. Write that down. He really went 2 for 2 with the one-liners. He's clean. And we have to get back to the squabbling. But Raiden is still getting washed. Snap bro's sword in half and really tried to take his jaw off. Had him checking if it was still there, just to get smacked anyway. This is not a good look, my boy. You're getting done dirty right now, I can't lie to you. So he had to turn up the heat. Through the sword which got blocked, weave twice and block the last swing with both hands. And Raiden just started hating on politicians whilst cooking the senator. Blocking to the jab, blocked the kick and countered with the spin kick. Superman punch, then a knee and swept him. And of course he had to pose. But hold on, he's about to cook up a clean speech. Get ready to write this down. Write this down, get ready to write this down.
I have a dream.
Ref, do something. Ref, have a word. I really thought he was about to go 3 for 3. He thinks he's MLK. And he's still cooking Raiden. Had him up by the throat. But Raiden finally tried to go toe-to-toe with him, clashing with the headbutt, but he couldn't actually hang with him. Hit him with the uppercut into the left, then slammed him into the ground, picked him up, charged up the left again, then push kicked him, and had to hit him with the conquest, just slapped the hell out of him. And of course he's stomping your boy out, talking about how he's about to make America great again. I think the senator was just ahead of his time, bro. How many quotes does one man need? But we find out, bro wants to be president and rebuild the whole of America. That's typical villain talk. And he's still stomping Raiden out, then lit a cigar standing over your goat. And somehow, he convinced Raiden, bro. Why is he dusting him off? Why are they shaking hands? Why is Raiden leaning on him? But of course, Raiden was not going for that, bro. Of course he wasn't going for that. Had Armstrong perplexed and yeeted him across the map. But generally, whose freaky senator is this, bro? What is this pose? Let's be honest, bro. In the space of 20 minutes, he literally is the greatest thing about this game. But Raiden was actually getting washed, was coughing up blood and everything, but he finally locked in, charging up the right. But bro ate that, and let's be honest, you all know what happens next. But the Senator is literally unbeatable because his body is made up of nanomachines. He really can't even take damage. Bro ran in there throwing a punch and didn't even knock off his glasses and started getting worked again until the Senator hit bro so hard it destroyed the whole Metal Gear. And when my boy was cooked, Wolfie came to save the day, posting up with Sam's sword. And Sam didn't even really have beef with Raiden like that. He had a plan set up that if he lost, Raiden could use his sword. And of course Armstrong was pressed, tried to intercept the throw, but he failed. And oh nah, bro was just on the floor and rose up to form that aura. Look at the pose, entering into his Jack the Ripper mode. And we get to the final round. Let's get into it. Because the Senator slams Raiden and held him up, but he kicks him and picks up his sword, blocks the right, then the left, which Loki had the Senator pressed, charging in, just to cut him and stab him in his stomach. But you know he's not about to go out weak, clashing with my boy Raiden. But it was time to end this. Hit him with the headbutt, pulled the sword back out, diced him up, and stabbed him right through his chest. I told you he locked in. And Armstrong starts yapping about how Jack is his successor. But bro was done talking to him, pulled out his heart and crushed it, finally defeating the Senator for good. Hey, clap this up. W ending, clap this up, W ending. Hurry up, down. W ending. And we get to the final cutscene with everyone chilling, living their life, except for my boy Raiden, who's still fighting the ops. He has to let this go. But if you like the video, like the video. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.